Oh, welcome in, everybody, to Amalgamation Nation, the AMNATIONPOD. As always, I am the hostess with the mostest, the anime watching, booze cruising, booty knife gang repping, John Cena's following, Shaq Daddy himself, Ryan Green Machine Ebner. This is your source for gaming, sports, anime news, and so much more. That is Amalgamation Nation. This is episode 249. I keep thinking, like, once we get to 250, right? Because I feel like when, as you start to get new listeners and stuff like that in, I almost wonder, is an episode count almost like, does it make you feel like overwhelmed? You're like, wow, I've missed a lot. Like, do you wonder if maybe, do you feel that way when you jump onto a new podcast, or no?
So, no, but because I come, read comics, and to where, most of the time, not until, in modern kind of comics history, they do resets a lot more, but they didn't do that historically, so they'd be like, oh, yeah, this is X-Men, 400 something, yeah. And so you're just like, all right, I just have to pick up and then just read this, and just, and you kind of just go from there, and, and you can always go back and read some stuff, and you can still have the references. So, me personally, no. But if people do want to go back and listen, that's great. I think we probably sound worse.
Probably, absolutely. If you're wondering who that luscious, beautiful voice is on the other side of the microphone, it is from North Carolina, Brendan BK Kennerly, the 2021 AM Nation Fantasy Football Champion. BK, how are you, sir?
I'm good. It was a little crazy at work, but it wasn't overwhelmingly crazy today for once. I was sitting there and I was like, oh man, I'm not super stressed out. This is nice. This is what it's supposed to be like. Okay.
Oh, see, I like those type of days. Yeah, I like those type of days where you're just like, oh yeah, all right, yeah, I can do this. This is a solid vibe. I can get through my Monday.
Yeah. But what about you for the episode count? What do you think?
Well, it's always been a thing for me, where I don't actually think it should be very overwhelming, right? Because it's not our show isn't a show where you actually need to know the previous episodes. You'd be fine if you didn't. I only look at it as a perspective as if you are, I guess for me, if I jump in, I jumped in and watched podcasts, then they're on episode 400 and something, and I'm like, oh, well, that's okay. I wanted to listen to this one. It's not necessarily I wanted to listen to all the other ones. This is the one that I like. So, I mean, yeah. I don't think it matters. But about to hit 250, that's pretty cool. And then it's AM Nation Shippuden, you know what I mean? Then it's the next generation, So
next generation.
Yeah, it's oh,
so when does Beardo happen?
Yeah, dude, we don't talk about that. We don't talk about Beardo. No, none of that. We'll just pretend it doesn't exist.
So okay, I guess what story? So we just repeated. So what story arc are we on to now? I guess that's what it is.
Is this filler? Is it filler until the?
No, this is definitely filler because P2 and David aren't here.
Yeah, so exactly.
It's all filler bullshit when they're not here. Then when they come back and when Mike comes back for the gaming as well, then we're back into the regular. This is just filler shit.
Oh, okay. I hope this is the beach episode then. I sure hope it is. We'll see. As always, you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, at AMNationPod. Hit the follow button on all of those. You can also find us on our YouTube, search Amalgamation Nation. It's also in the episode description, the link to the YouTube as well. Make sure you go there, hit the sub button, all that good stuff. We appreciate it. You got the intro music. That's from Taicho Beardo. Find him on SoundCloud. That link is in the episode description as well. Or listen to him on Spotify, right where you can listen to the Amalgamation Nation podcast as well. You can also listen to us on Apple Podcasts too. If you are on Spotify, you can donate to the show $5 a month. That helps support the show. Just click the link in the Spotify bio. Merch is on there too in our episode description link. Go ahead and click that. That's where you get yourself some sweet AM Nation Pod and Undead Black Bull merch. So go on there and get yourself some cool stuff as we continue to grind here through the last, month and a half-ish of summer. So we're almost there, dude. It's almost time for sweater weather. Maybe you need a nice little AM Nation Pod sweater. Maybe an Undead Black Bull sweater. I don't know. Maybe a nice coffee mug when you're drinking your hot cocoa soon in a few months. It's coming. Don't worry. It's right around the corner. Also, twitch.tv/UndeadBlackBulls where you find David on Twitch. Give him a follow and a sub. Fun fact, I did, so this weekend I was at C2E2 with David and with Mike. So we were chatting a little bit, and David is continuously is working because he moved his whole streaming setup out of where was in his house in like the little foyer area, and he's moving it into one of the spare rooms. So he's been working on getting that all set up and stuff. So it's coming along just nicely, which is good. It was very good. And the Epic Games creator code is AMNationPod. Go on there, use that whether you're playing the Fortnite, whether you're playing Epic Games Store on your PC, maybe you're downloading games on there, or you're playing Rocket League. If you type in that creator code AMNationPod, when you're on the storefront, whatever you buy, we get a little bit of a kickback out of that at no extra cost to you. So that helps support the show as well. We appreciate it. Right now on Fortnite is literally Marvel Palooza. It's just a shitload of Marvel stuff. One of the pickaxes that you get is actually Hulk hands. So it looks like you have Hulk hands like from when you were a kid. And I actually really like that. So
that's pretty cool.
it's pretty cool, dude. I saw somebody coming down on a glider, and it was Ghost Rider's motorcycle, and I was like, "That's cool as shit," and I would buy that because that's actually cool.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah, or I use my bestie John Cena's emote. I do that a lot too. So it's all good. Yeah, can't see me. Can't see me. You know what the White Sox can't see? Wins. Let's jump right into baseball. Just say bucket and throw it off because that's how it started. And it was flowing real nicely. Pete Tahiti isn't here to take you around the diamond. So instead, myself and BK will do it for you. It's been a hot minute since we did a sports show. So we have to talk about the trade deadlines and stuff. But first, I think it's only right that we talk about the unfortunate passing of legendary broadcaster Vince Scully for the Los Angeles Dodgers. That was just so sad. It was such an awful week. I mean, I'll tie in the NBA news while we're here too. Bill Russell passed away, and then we get Vince Scully passed away. Today, Olivia Newton-John passed away. Like, what a terrible week, losing just absolute legends. BK, but sticking here with Vince Scully, just an absolute heartbreaking news. Your thoughts?
Yeah, well, it's the rule of threes. Like they always say for the famous people, it always happens in threes. So, Vince Scully passing was that sucks. I loved all the you saw like the Twitter clips coming across of like famous calls for him, and like the Johnny Gomes one with like the wolf on top of him like that, and that was really funny. And then especially after Bill Russell passed, you saw a bunch of those clips and where he like flicked off like Charles Barkley, and that was really funny. Just really great stuff. Both legends, and we brought up Bill Russell on the podcast multiple times because I mean the man's got more rings than fingers, which is just good for him. Good for him and the family. So rest in peace to both of them, and obviously Olivia Newton-John as well. Get physical. So I mean, get physical. That's like that's like sports related, kind of tangential. So throwing it in there.
Absolutely, yeah. The Vince Scully thing's so sad. I was listening to a lot of people call in. On different radio shows, and like people from Los Angeles talking about how they would sleep with the radio next to them with Vince Scully's call for Dodger games and things like that when they were younger. And I just thought that was so cool to have that for that fan base. And it's unfortunate, obviously. And then Bill Russell, that was extremely tough too. Like obviously one of, if not, the GOAT of NBA basketball. So many times Bill Russell gets kind of taken out of that top 5 player kind of talk just because of by the sports media, just because of like the time that he was playing and things like that. But like you said, 14 championships. He had to start putting them on toes. He almost filled up all of his toes. So that's pretty impressive. He's almost got both hands and a whole foot of rings. And obviously the first NBA black coach. There's a lot of really big marks for Bill Russell, so that was a really, really tough loss as well. And then the Olivia Newton-John, and then seeing John Travolta's post to her, just very, very sad.
I didn't see John Travolta's post to her. Oh, man.
Wait till after the show, then. It's
okay.
Got me right in my heartstrings. I was like, it's somebody that really enjoyed Grease. Like, it was just like, oh.
Oh, Grease is, oh, man. Like, that movie's, it might be close to, like, my top 10, if not top 15. Like, it's just... so good.
Very, very good movie. Now, getting into the MLB trade deadline stuff. Well, we could do this real easy. First, Pete's not here, but I will at least mention the Cubs held on to Ian Happ and Wilson Contreras. I'm sure he feels very good about both of those things, all with the intention of that the Cubs are actually going to extend Wilson and extend Ian Happ, then this is all making sense. If that doesn't happen, then I don't know what the Cubs are doing, and it is what it is. But my brain is saying that they're just going to extend them both, which is good. It's good for the Cub fan base there, as they were struggling here after what happened with the other three, and not getting those deals done. So that's good for the Cubs. And now Jason Hayward, which is also probably good for the Cubs, shut down for the rest of the year, and then he will not be back in 2023. They will release him, and I think he's owed like $23 million. So the Jason Hayward era for the Chicago Cubs is over. You got a ring, though. So
yeah, I mean, I don't think he ever met expectations, but he still helped them. He was still an important piece. I would deem part of that the ship run. So
Absolutely. Also, the White Sox, let's talk about their trade deadline moves. I think they traded for Diekman, relief pitcher from Boston. Meh. And that was it. Nothing else. White Sox didn't do nothing else. We're coming off of losing 3 out of 4 against the Rangers. We are currently, I believe, 2 games back of the Twins, or 3 games back of the Twins, 2 above 500. Continues to be a rather tough year for the White Sox. They're just really underperforming across the board. Our manager falls asleep in the first inning. So it's just...
That was bad. I saw that going around. I think shout out to Frank, listener, friend of the podcast, tweeted that out, and I was like, oh boy, that's not good.
No,
that's real bad.
It's real bad. It's real bad, especially as the first inning.
Get that man a freaking Jaeger bomb or freaking vodka Red Bull. You know what? Get him a trash can. Just get him a big ass mixed drink with the freaking Red Bull, stick it in there with it just to keep the man up.
Something, dude. I mean, I like that he typed in alcohol because he's obviously an alcoholic and got DUIs. So that's cool too. Fuck coffee. Tony La Russa don't need that. He needs some booze.
Exactly. That's why I was like, nah, just the booze mixed with an energy drink, the way to really shock the body, keep them up.
Oh man, absolutely. Yeah, the White Sox are awful right now. It's just been a really, really tough season thus far. I mean, obviously the Sox still in it, could win the AL Central. If they were in any other division, it would be over. The season would be done. But because they are in the AL Central and that division is awful, the White Sox still hanging in there. And we're in August, so now things have to start to really. You got to start putting it into gear here and get going as we get ready to head into the final couple of months stretch here of the regular season. So, where I'm at right now, I'm very disappointed in the White Sox, which I think everybody should be. If you're a White Sox fan and you're not disappointed in this team, I don't know where your head's at. I don't know what you were thinking going into the year. I don't know if you just don't care. That's the assumption I would get, is that you just don't care. But this team is really, really bad, and I hope they can get it going. And I also hope this is the end of Tony La Russa. I keep saying it, but please, for the love of God, dude, just let's move on. He's not the guy. I would have rather had Rick Renteria still running the show if this is the case, because this is awful. At least Rick Renteria, there was some passion, there was some fire. I mean, in him, so I'll give him that. Ricky's boys didn't quit, whereas Tony La Russa just, like I said, he's just napping, dude. Just out here napping, and it's absolutely a fucking joke. And the White Sox are a disgrace. So hopefully they come off strong here this week, so that next week on the show, I don't have to feel so angry. So, yeah.
I'm sorry you feel that angry. I know it's been a tough year. Okay, so what do you put? If there were Vegas odds on them making the playoffs, how do you feel? I guess what would you put it at?
I mean, they're probably still plus. They're probably plus money. I mean, I would say to win that division right now, or I guess you're saying make the playoffs. But to me, I guess in my mind, the only way that happens is to win the division. But maybe plus 220. That'd be pretty cool. I still feel like the White Sox should make the playoffs. I'm not out on the White Sox making the playoffs. I just think it's been so bad that who's going to something's got to give here. You got to get, something's got to get going. We need some type of momentum, and it just hasn't clicked yet. But check in on me at the end of August, and we'll see how if I've hit the panic button and it's all over.
Well, I guess it's because the team has underperformed. Do you wish they would have added more at the trade deadline, or even sold off some?
I would have been, for me, like, I think the White Sox. Now, I should also mention, guys, it's the trade deadline, which means it's the honorary time of year that Rick Hahn got the White Sox to the table. They got to the table. They're talking about Shohei Ohtani, apparently. And then the Angels said, we're not really going to trade him. So congrats to the White Sox for making it to the table. Great job, guys. Way to go. Obviously, the Shohei Ohtani thing, I would have sold it all. I would have sold off everything for Shohei Ohtani. That would have been great. Same thing, which we're going to get in the Juan Soto trade after the O's talk, but, like, I would have done the same thing for that. I mean, the White Sox weren't in that trade, but, like, I would have sold off everything. No problem. That's a generational type of talent right there. So for me, if I'm the White Sox, like, I would have loved for them to kind of shore up the rotation just a little bit. Because Dylan Cease has pitched his ass off this year. He's been unbelievable. Remember, still an all-star snub. But he was unbelievable this year. He still has been. But, like, Giolito's really underperformed. The rest of the rotation's just been kind of meh. It hasn't been good. Lance Lynn obviously battling injuries early in the year, and then he's come back and hasn't really been that good. Cueto, honestly, has been one of the bright spots for them. So, like, shout out to Johnny Cueto getting it done. I would have loved for the White Sox to try and got Carlos Rodon and brought him back for the second half of the season and maybe just see what could happen. Obviously, the Giants held on to him, but I would have loved to see if the Sox could have tried to make a move for that. It is difficult right now because the White Sox farm system is just meh, which I understand. Like, they had a lot of problems. The White Sox farm system, a few years ago was ranked in the top 3, right? And then now all the players are up. They're all basically called up. So I understand it's going to take a little bit to refuel that farm system. But, yeah, I would have liked a little something, man. Just do something just to spark this team a little bit. You got Yohan Mikata, who's, really underperformed. I know he's picked it up I think in July he picked it up a little bit, but it's just been tough. Tim Anderson still has played great. I still think the second base, that's just a terrible issue that they have. Jose Brady's played great, but this is pretty much it. Yasmani Grandal, I probably would have tried to trade off Yasmani if given the opportunity. But, yeah, Sox they need something. Need something to get in there and jolt them awake. Just like a Jaeger bomb, dude. Just like a Jaeger bomb.
Yeah,
Something to really kick them going there. So, it's tough, though. But we'll see. We'll see what happens to them.
So, like, the storyline, like the midseason storyline for the White Sox is more Jaeger bombs.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, dude. Keep them on tap right there in the dugout. Let's go. I would love to see Tony just popping a Jaeger bomb real quick. I'm all for it. VK, your O's made some moves to continue to make moves to build for the future. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I know. So, like, some of the fan base, and it was the vocal minority of the fan base that was, like, really upset. Like, but, like, a lot of the, like, rational fans were like, hey, understand why we had to make some trades. But what I'm referencing here is the Orioles did trade away their, kind of heart of the clubhouse, heart of the team, just all around great guy. Trey Mancini, they traded him to the Houston Astros and got a couple of pitchers back. And those pitchers, I think one of them was Cade Povich. He either came in that trade or one of the other trades, but so they got a couple of pitchers. I'm forgetting that it was like Seth Johnson's one, and I should have looked up their names before he came on, but boom, other stuff came up.
Yeah.
But I was okay with it. He wasn't going to resign, and the Orioles have kind of they've overplayed this year. Honestly, like they've played above expectations. Like, we can all agree on that. So if you're the smart team, you say, hey, like making the wild card's great, but it's not necessarily in the cards for us. I don't think so. Like, it's still a possibility. Like, right now the O's are up 5-1 on the Blue Jays, and they're a couple games back of the wild card, so they still can make it. But keep building for, like, the future. The pitching is a little thin in the minor league system, which we'll touch upon in a second. So it was great to get a couple pitchers back. One of them's a lefty, so shout out, great thing. And then Jorge Lopez, who they traded away, their star closer, made his first All-Star game this year. And I know some people were super upset about that, but I don't know why, because, I mean, the guy, like I said on here before, I mean, he's had a great turnaround season. But the other year, he had the highest qualified ERA among starters. It was in the sevens. And then the Orioles worked with him, worked on his mechanics and everything like that, put him in the bullpen. All of a sudden, he was like one of the top relievers in the game. So, yes, you sell high. You sell high. That was super smart. And guess what? They got 2 pitching prospects back for him from the Twins. And so the Orioles traded away 2 guys and got 4 pitching prospects back. So all good. It's all good to me. I was ecstatic with it because, like I just referenced a little bit ago, the pitching depth in the farm system isn't as great. If it's a hitter at a position, the Orioles have it in spades. Not worried about that. And obviously, the Orioles do have the top pitching prospect in baseball as well. They have Grayson Rodriguez. But then that kind of gets me into my larger thing. Talk about the farm system here. A few things came out today. I know ESPN ranked the Orioles as the top-ranked farm system. They stayed there even after Adley Rutschman got caught up this year. And by the way, Adley is the highest WAR among all catchers since he's been called up. So that's pretty cool for a rookie. He's not doing bad. Still inconsistent, but he's doing pretty good. Gunnar Henderson, he is shot up the board. He is number 1 overall prospect. So the Orioles not just have the top-ranked farm system, they also have the number 1 overall prospect in baseball. Again, Gunnar Henderson, he's a shortstop. Really exciting. The Orioles have 6 guys in the top 100. 6. It's just, this is an exciting time. And my dad and a few friends went to the game on Saturday against the Pirates, in which the Orioles won, but they were doing a bunch of a 30th anniversary celebration for the ballpark that forever changed baseball, Oriole Park at Camden Yards. And my dad was saying, he was like, oh, it was like hard to find parking. He's like, I had to wait like 10 minutes to get a beer, in line to get a beer. He was like, it was good. These are good things. These are good. These are good problems to have. And I was like, absolutely. Yeah, those are good problems to have. And so it does seem that everyone is still really, really excited. And I'm excited too. And like I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop, honestly. Like this run's just been incredible. And honestly, like, Orioles don't even have a single guy batting over 300. I don't even think we have a guy batting 280 right now on the year. And it's just, and we're somehow just playing good team baseball. The Orioles do have one of the best bullpens in baseball. I think they dropped off a little bit since they traded away Jorge, but I still think they're top 3 bullpen. So like it's been a lot of fun. If they make the playoffs, great. If they don't, whatever. We're building for the future. Just keep doing that. It's great to have a good farm system, and I've talked about on here before that. It was just the other year that the Orioles finally had like a top-rated farm system. Like they never had one in their entire existence, like since I've been alive. So like, this is just really cool. It's unbelievable. Really happy. Really, really happy.
Good. That's awesome. Yeah, the Orioles have been just a great story this whole year, and that's been fantastic to see how they roll. I mean, like you said, whether they make the playoffs or not, it's just fun right now for the Oriole fans because it's not like you guys are just like surprising right now. So it's pretty cool. Also, it was pretty sweet. We finally had a big blockbuster trade happen in baseball. Juan Soto was moved by the Nationals to the San Diego Padres. Thank God it wasn't that shit city of St. Louis, baby.
I'm glad it wasn't the Dodgers.
Yeah, them too.
Or the Yankees.
Yeah, them too. Fuck them. Yeah, it goes to the Padres. And that price, as you can imagine, was pretty steep. So the return package going to the Nationals. Now, the Nationals sent not only Juan Soto, they also sent Josh Bell, first baseman, as well. And they got left-handed pitcher Mackenzie McGore, outfielder Robert Hassel III, shortstop C.J. Abrams, outfielder James Woods, right-handed pitcher Yarlin Susana. And because Eric Hosmer decided to use his no-trade clause, Luke Voigt had to get put in that trade instead of Eric Hosmer. Even better, really, for me, for the Nationals then. An even better return for the Nationals. And Eric Hosmer, don't worry, Padres still trade his ass. Got him to the Red Sox later. But yeah, man, Eric Hosmer almost shut the whole thing down. But the Padres just said, you know what, fuck it. We're already in this deep. We ain't going back now. And they threw Voit in there as well. BK, your thoughts here? I mean, it's unprecedented for us because we don't really see 23-year-old superstars traded like that.
No, and I love to see them traded away from the Nationals. Like, nothing makes me happier. This is just, I mean, it was a great day to be a Baltimore Oriole fan to see Juan Soto traded away. Just brings just such a big smile to my face, and then also like we all have to kind of, I think, just baseball fans in general have to be happy for the Padres. You know, they really kind of went all in the other year when they were like they got Manny Machado. Everyone's like, oh wow, like that's a big splash. And then they re-signed Fernando Tatis. Well, not re-signed. I think they signed him to an extension. Excuse me, Fernando Tatis Jr. So this is and then they made a few splashes in the trade market, getting some pitching there. So I mean, this is just thrilled to bits. And honestly, I hope all those guys tank for the Nationals. I hope all those studs mean nothing for the Nationals. That would be just fantastic. It would make the trade even better for me. It would just make me so happy on the inside and the outside. Just make me happy everywhere. It's crazy. Like you said, a 23-year-old guy who's been the MVP, like he's gotten MVP votes, and he's couldn't come to an agreement. And the weird kind of, not pissing match, that's not the right word, like animosity, I guess, between the Nationals organization and Juan Soto for the home run derby, where like the whole flying him out there and all that stuff, and he had to get someone else, didn't someone else pay for his ride or something like that?
I think somebody else did.
Like, yeah, which is like, I don't know why baseball teams are doing that this year. Like the A's did that with their lone guy. Like, so
that's because the A's are cheap. You thought they don't even have a payroll, so they're like, we're not even going to do that. I mean, Jesus, dude, fly Delta or something.
Like, but it's just strange that what the Nationals were doing there. And I mean, I guess I understand management / the organization being a little upset that he didn't sign that fat contract extension that they like offered him. Wasn't like it was over $400 million that they offered him, and he turned it down for more. So yeah, I mean, Juan Soto's going to get paid here like about a half bill. So, but yeah, I mean, you're going to get a lot of control out of him. Like he'll probably sign like I imagine like a 14-year contract, probably somewhere around that. I think that's what the Nationals are offering him. So yeah. And maybe part of the reason he didn't agree to stay, and maybe part of the reason the Nationals couldn't offer him more money was because they have the ownership groups trying to sell him right now. The Lerners are trying to actively sell the Nationals.
Do you think that directly though not keeping Juan Soto, wouldn't that in theory affect the value of the team? Because then you're just like, well, who's the superstar here?
Yeah, well, so that can go both ways. Like I do agree. Like I think that does absolutely affect the value of the team. I guess you can say, like, on the other hand, like, well, they are bringing a lot of prospects in, so like they are building the farm system out for the future. So if you are an incoming owner, that'll make you kind of feel somewhat better that okay, like you don't have to do a complete like tear down rebuild, like rebuild the farm system, because that takes longer. Like the Orioles had to do that, and that just takes forever. So you have that, but then also think of it like if you're an owner coming in, like, do you necessarily want to commit $500 million to like a guy that you didn't even necessarily sign?
Right.
There's a lot of factors at play.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, this is a great deal for the Padres, who are in an arms race to try and keep up with the LA Dodgers. And I mean, shout out to them. I think this year still for the Padres, we'll see what happens. But like next year with Tatis Jr. healthy and then Juan Soto and Manny Machado, it's a nasty lineup. It's an absolutely nasty lineup. So that's pretty sweet. Pretty.
Yeah, I don't think they've ever won the World Series either.
Nope.
So like, nope. I mean, this is like when the Bucks, like it was so hard to cheer against the Bucks and even the Suns. So like it's the same situation with the Padres here. It's like it's hard to feel like it's hard to root against them, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be mad. I mean, unless the White Sox are obviously involved, but like the Sox aren't involved, like
of course,
cool, let's do it. I mean, it'd be harder. I think the only other team I would possibly have to root for out of the AL in that situation is like, I don't know, maybe the Angels got there. I'd really root hard for Trout Like, I'd root really hard for my crowd to win a World Series,
Absolutely.
But other than that, it'd be really cool for the Padres to win. It's kind of like, like it had been a while for the Braves last year, so I wasn't like mad. I was just like, oh, or 2 years ago or whatever it was. I was like, oh, that's cool. Last year. I was like, yeah, that's
last
cool.
year, they just won.
Yeah. I was like, that's cool. Good for them. Yeah.
Oh, and they locked up Austin Riley to that 10-year contract, so they're like, the Braves are making a lot of smart moves to compete long term as well.
Absolutely. Now we'll save the Blackhawks talk and some college basketball talk for next week. Hopefully, Pete Ziti will be back. We'll get into that a little bit. But now let's move along to the return of the pitch. Let's hit that music.
It's time for BK to take you to the pitch.
Everybody. So the Premier League season kicked off actually last Friday, and the opening game was Arsenal. They played on the road at Crystal Palace, and they took home the opener 2-0. A much better start than last year, where they lost the first 3 games. So starting off on a positive note, feel great. They didn't drop a single game in preseason, because I don't even know if we've even podcasted since then, because like Colin and I went up to Baltimore for one of the games. Don't even know.
Nope.
But it was a lot of fun actually seeing Arsenal in person. A lot of Arsenal fans in Baltimore. Like for like a Wednesday night, it was I think the crowd was like 30 some odd thousand. So it was like not bad at all. And I did hear, because I listened to the Arsenal podcast, and they had one of the guys, he's a journalist, and he was there for The Athletic. And he was like, oh, man, the food spread was awesome. He was like, the NFL teams, like, they go hard for, like, their food spreads. He's like, they take it seriously. And it was funny he was saying that, because Arsenal's next preseason game was in Orlando, at, like, Orlando City, where the soccer team plays there. And he was like, oh, the food was ass there. He was like, the MLS teams just have shit food compared to the NFL teams. He's like, the NFL teams, like, yeah. He was like, oh, yeah, there was, like, crab cakes and everything. I was like, well, not surprised being in Baltimore for that. But thought that was funny, and that was a little tangential there. But Arsenal will play coming up here again on Saturday against Leicester City. So hopefully they can keep those winning ways. And I think I heard there's rumor on the street that there's a new Arsenal fan here on the podcast.
Yeah, dude, there are rumors afloat. As I mentioned, I have to pick a new team to be invested in. So I thought it makes the most sense to just be invested into Arsenal with BK. It makes it way easier. So that if I have questions, I'll just be like, hey, man, who's somebody that I'm supposed to cheer for? Or who's somebody that absolutely fucking blows, things like that. So, yeah.
Tottenham. So that's what you got to learn. Fuck Tottenham.
Fuck Tottenham.
In the ass over and over and over.
Copy
we
that.
Don't like them. We don't want anything good for them ever.
Copy, yeah. We don't want them. Fuck them. I got it. Kick ass. All right, yeah. The pitch was back this week. That was cool after a nice little off season there. Now I know also how I know it's been a long time since we've done a sports show, because we still haven't addressed Vince McMahon retiring from WWE. So we did on the last time we talked. Last time on AMNATIONPOD Sports Edition. We talked about Vince McMahon and the alleged paying of multiple women, paying them off for their silence after alleged affairs, and continue to trickle down to the point that Vince McMahon on like a rant. I couldn't even tell you that. I can't remember the date. I'll always know what I was doing when I found out the news, but I can't tell you the date off the top of my head. Randomly doom scrolling Twitter, waiting for some other news, some other type of sport news, and Vince McMahon just randomly tweets out, all right, peace out, see you later. And I was like, no. And yeah, the day I thought would never come. I always assumed he would just die before he would retire, but Vince McMahon has actually retired from WWE. And I know, like, it was such a weird, like, people were like, can't believe everybody's posting all this stuff, like, thanking Vince McMahon, like, after all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I mean, I get that, but at the same time, like Vince McMahon did a lot of things, right? He revolutionized cable television with Monday Night Raw, and like what that was able to do. It's the longest episodic TV show in the history of television. So like that is insanely impressive. It's something that does not take breaks, right? It's every week, boom, boom, boom. There are no breaks. He also revolutionized pay per view, like the pay per view industry, because of what he did with WrestleMania and SummerSlam, Survivor Series, and all the other pay per views that he created. Now, obviously, they're different because they're on the Peacock streaming service, and they call them premium live events or some stupid shit now. But in my heart of hearts, there will always be pay per views. So, absolutely, just revolutionary for the pro wrestling business. It would not be what it is today, obviously, if it wasn't for Vince McMahon. So that just a crazy, crazy day. And then now his daughter Stephanie McMahon and Nick Khan take over as co-CEOs of the company. Triple H returns to his duty as a vice president, EVP, and takes over as head of creative and talent relations, which got a lot of WWE fans and wrestling fans super excited, because when Triple H was in charge of creative down in NXT, which is, for those that don't know, the developmental system for WWE, he did a lot of really great things down there. So now Vince McMahon took that over when Triple H had all his health issues, and now Triple H is back, and now he's taking over full creative control and everything, and talent relations. So this is gonna be really awesome. So far, it's been great. Like we had SummerSlam, and then we had Monday Night Raw and a SmackDown after that, and it's been awesome. Like we had some talent return, we had some really good matches and some like good storytelling going on. So like it already feels different. It's already starting to feel different. I like that a lot. So
There's a tractor.
oh, dude, yeah.
There was a front loader.
Yeah, there's a front loader on SummerSlam with Brock Lesnar driving it, doing cowboy shit. I loved it. It was fucking great. So I love the direction it's going. Obviously, like I said, Vince McMahon, everything he did, it's a thank you. And I would not be in love with wrestling the way that I am if it wasn't for Vince McMahon and what he did. I mean, I think we can all remember Stone Cold in the 90s and giving stunners to Vince McMahon, the character that he became on television, right? And spraying him down in a beer bath and all the other funny shit they did. So that is awesome. But I'm really excited for the future of WWE now. This is awesome. So yeah, but insane news. It was absolutely insane when it happened. I just could not believe it. I was absolutely stunned.
It just like dropped out of the blue. It just kind of like slid it out there, which I think was probably like done intentionally, honestly. Right. But then it was weird because then he did the like almost like a little press conference. Like he slid the little press conference. Like what? It was like the next night or something like that.
I think
like,
so.
Wasn't it like yeah, like it was on Raw or SmackDown. I can't remember exactly. So yeah, and I think this is a perfect example of what you said, is where sometimes you have to separate the man from the art. In this case, where like, yeah, he's an absolutely shitty person. There is no denying that. He's a terrible human being. But at the same time, he did build up this empire and this thing that is a great thing that does bring a lot of people joy and bring a lot of people just like happiness at the end of the day, and kind of get some reason to like get up and go to work. Honestly, I know a lot of people are like really hardcore about it, like you yourself, and I have some buddies back in Baltimore. They love it, so that can't be discounted or forgotten. So like, yes, he is a absolutely garbage, terrible human being, but he did do one good thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that is something that is great for WWE now, and as the future of it, I'm actually really excited about. So that's really cool. Also, Phil Mickelson is among the 11 live golfers suing the PGA Tour. They want to be reinstated as PGA players, and they're filing antitrust lawsuits. Nice.
It's just so funny that this drama has continued to unfold. The 30 for 30 on this will be super interesting. This is just, and because we didn't have it in here, but Tiger Woods, turned out it was like reported like 700, 800 million, somewhere in that
good
range.
On him.
Dollars.
Good on him, because I'm shocked.
He said no. I mean, he's already a billionaire, so he's like, all right, like whatever. So that's just crazy. But yeah, good. Tiger Woods. That's goat shit. If you say no to that much money, like you go, whoa.
That the intestinal fortitude of Tiger Woods to say no to that. Just, man, that's insane. Especially somebody like Tiger Woods, who's like obviously at the tail end of his career, could easily go and make, close, like you said, close to $1 billion. And it's just like, nah, fuck it. I don't need it. I'll be all right.
Could be a billionaire twice over.
Yeah,
essentially.
that is insane. Now let's get to the NFL. There's going to be plenty in this section here to end the show, but let's start with running back Leonard Fournette, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a little chunky. Reportedly weighing in at 260 pounds at the start of training camp. BK, do you like your running backs thick?
I mean, all right, like I saw that, and it is what it is. And look, he's a veteran. He's got all the preseason and OTAs and preseason to lose the weight. I will give him credit, at least like on Twitter and Instagram. He was really leaning into it, like where he was like all the chonk and all that stuff. He was like posting like fat pictures, like he was like photoshopping like pictures of like of his face like onto fat people, stuff like that. He's like, oh yeah, so I'll give him like credit. And in his defense, he's always been a bigger running back. So like that's not like necessarily Eddie Lacy big, but he's been a solid guy.
Yeah, it's true too. He's been a solid guy. I think it'll be all right. Leonard Fournette will be fine, dude. Bucks will be fine. Tom's gonna get him on a diet. He'll be fine.
Yeah, they're like all almond diet. Like there's gonna be something like ridiculous. Like
straight up.
Yeah,
they'll be just fine. Houston rookie wide receiver John Mechie III out of Alabama, diagnosed with acute promyelolytic leukemia. It is a form of leukemia, but it's also very curable. So he was able to go and get treatment on that, but he will not be able to play this entire rookie season due to the leukemia. So hopefully speedy recovery for John Mechie III there. That's a tough break for the Houston Texans and for that young man.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully that the Texans take just as good care of him as they did Deshaun Watson. Giving Deshaun Watson all the NDAs and all that to just take advantage of masseuses and all that. So hopefully they take just as good a care of John Mechie as they did Deshaun Watson.
See, I really like the segue, but I really want to pencil it because I want to hold off on Deshaun Watson because it's going to be a lot.
I wasn't even trying to do the segue. Okay. I was obviously just trying to be an ass.
Okay. I got it. Good. All right. So we will see. We're going to pencil that in, tuck that in right there, because we're going to jump back to that here in a second. Mayor Lightfoot for Chicago showed up images for potential remodel of Soldier Field. It came with like 3 different options. And the Bears then responded with like, nope. Like, we're good. We're invested in whatever it is we're moving forward, which is the Arlington Heights location that they purchased. That should be all done and purchased here later on. So that's cool. But she said, well, hey, I mean, potential for a second NFL franchise to come to Chicago. And I was like, well, it's about fucking time, right? LA gets like 3. New York's got 2. Why the fuck not? Can't we get 2? Why can't the third biggest city in America get 2 teams? Yeah. Why can't we have the Chicago Jaguars? Why not?
You wouldn't even change the name. You just keep it Chicago Jaguars.
Yeah, fuck yeah, dude. Jaguars don't live in Florida. They sure as shit to live in Chicago. Who cares? You think Bears are roaming the streets here? No, dude.
No. All right. So, obviously you can't go Lions because that's taken. Lions. Tigers has not been done in football. You could go Chicago Tigers, so it's like Lions, Tigers, and Bears. Oh my. Oh. Yeah, exactly. So maybe not. I don't know. I guess that's too Wizard of Ozzy.
Could be. I mean, I'm about it.
I like it better than Jaguars because at least if Jacksonville does get another team again, I would doubt if the Jaguars did leave. The NFL is not moving back to Jacksonville. That's just they would leave that and just not go back and just be like, we've been there, we've done that.
Oh, absolutely. Now, we also released the 10 most valued NFL franchises. Currently, I know that the Dallas Cowboys obviously are number one at $6.5 billion. The Patriots coming in at second, $5 billion. The Giants third, $4.85 billion. The Rams, $4.8 billion. The Washington football team with their terrible owner, $4.2 billion. San Francisco, $4.175 billion. Number 7, the Chicago Bears, $4.075 billion. Number 8, the New York Football Jets, $4.05 billion. The Philadelphia Eagles at 9, $3.8 billion. And at number 10, the Denver Broncos recently sold, $3.75 billion. So the Bears, nice dude, getting on the list. Shout out to y'all. It's going to keep going up. We're coming for you, Dallas. That's right, baby. It's going to go up. Once we get this Arlington Heights stuff done, I at least would tack on another billion to the Chicago Bears.
Oh yeah, if they get if they like I said, like if they actually build the entire like complex like they did in Inglewood for the SoFi Stadium like complex and all that, then they'll leapfrog up there, no doubt about it at all. But like I just don't think Chicago's gonna get another NFL team. I don't see it happening. It would be great for the city, but like, what owner wants to move into Soldier Stadium with all that right now? Who wants to take on that project?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, that's a tough bill. I mean, especially because if I'm somebody and I'm like, I really want a team in that area, I'm looking at the Bears because I'm like, Virginia, she's getting old. Bears are. It's been on record that like if and obviously when Virginia passes, that the Bears are going to more than likely sell the team. So I would just keep holding out instead of trying to grab something in there and trying to figure out like what to do at Soldier Field because it's awful. I just saw Elton John there. I mean, that was cool, but stadium's not good.
Yeah. And I got to shout out my Ravens here. Like, I'm sorry,
Oh yeah,
they're 12th on the list, so not bad. Small market, 12th. They're 1.93 bill, and then shout out to the Ravens' rivals, the Steelers. There for 1.9 bill, and then also shout out to the Colts that left Baltimore. They're 1.88. So guess what? You fuckers aren't even worth as much as us after you left in the middle of the night, fuckers. So,
yeah, you fuckers.
And then and this one to keep of note that I want to say here. The Seattle Seahawks 15 at 1.87 billion. The reason I bring that up is because we dialed the podcast feed back when we did have a sports episode. It might have been a couple sports episodes ago, but that family, the Paul Allen Trust, they are in talks. Like they're actively exploring selling that franchise. So that's why I wanted to at least bring that up. So 1.87 billion. It'll probably sell for more than that, honestly, just because the way stuff goes.
Yeah. Absolutely. The NFL introduced NFL Plus. It's going to offer local and primetime games for $4.99 a month. NFL Plus Premier includes full replays, ad-free replays, and coach film for $9.99 a month. Nope. I'm good. I don't need it. No, don't need it at all. It's like it's doing what the Verizon had with the NFL app, and you can go on there and watch your local games as long as you had your Verizon wireless phone or whatever with you. So, no, I'm good. I do not need the NFL Plus. I will wait until the Sunday ticket gets bought and we figure out what's going on with that. That's what I'll do. Shout out to you. I was gonna say, does the NFL Plus intrigue you at all?
Yes and no. Like I don't care about watching the replay film. Like I like football, but I'm not that hardcore. I know like probably like a lot of people that have podcasts like Ravens and Bears podcasts, like they care about that and they'll probably take part, go in that. The local primetime games for $5, it's not bad, but it's only on like mobile devices. So like that was interesting. I also think I looked up like old values of like those NFL franchises there. So I do just want to apologize to our listeners.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
I was on NFL.com, so I figured they'd have like the up-to-date shit there.
No, I think that is right. I think you're still right. That was the last time they were all done and valued. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think the $1 billion is probably wrong, but it's probably in the right order.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Somebody had sent me a thing from somebody on Twitter with a check mark. I don't even know who the person was. That the Bears have interest in Odell Beckham Jr. And I said that's fake. So they're not really interested in Odell Beckham Jr. Dude. He's not even gonna play. They don't. I love this time of the year for football. I love every bit of it.
Yeah. Well, it's they had the N'Keal Harry injury come across yesterday. Like had the bad ankle injury, so he could be done for an extended period of time. Which that sucks because I think we were all lauding that as a very great trade by the Bears to get N'Keal Harry from the Patriots. So yeah, it's this is like the and especially if you're a fantasy football player out there. So there's something to keep in mind is that a lot of teams are really excited about their guys right now.
Always.
Because it's really hard sometimes to sift through the bullshit. But that's what you have to do right now. You have to sift through the bullshit.
Including per Ian Rappaport, J.K. Dobbins would not be ready by week 1. J.K. went on Twitter and refuted that, and then J.K. did come off the pup list today, August 8th, and he is scheduled to play week 1. So shout out for you, BK.
Yeah, well, I felt like both ways about this. Give me a second, Bruno. Bruno's he's moaning. We'll go outside in a minute, buddy. I promise.
It's like I'm tired of this show.
Yeah, he is. I can't blame him. He's like, "Where's Pichu and David? This is bullshit. This is filler. They're not even in bikinis."
Oh, damn. Mine's in the drawer.
I just don't own one. I just go naked. I go birthdays.
Oh God.
Geez, what were we talking? Oh, so JK and Ian Rappaport. So I did kind of feel bad for Ian Rappaport to a certain degree because he probably has sources in the organization who probably told him unlikely. But then, and JK kind of went after him hard. But then, at the end of the day, JK did come off the pup list today.
Right.
So they haven't even played a preseason game yet, and he came off the pup list. So that brings into question Rappaport's sources. Are they really that good in Baltimore? Does he need to reassess? I don't know. I do think JK kind of took it a little too personally, but hey, I understand. I know JK has been kind of very anxious to get back at it and play. I listened to a Ravens podcast and they were talking about how, JK was on the sidelines talking to Bisciotti, the owner, hey, I'm ready to get back out there. And and Eric DeCosta, the GM, was hold on, not this way. Calm down. We're gonna get you back out there. We got a game plan. So he's real excited. And then this came across today that the Ravens extended Justin Tucker, so he's still the highest paid kicker, and he's gonna be in Baltimore longer. So glad I got his jersey now and get to wear it. He's gonna be one of the he's a hoffer. Should be a first ballot hoffer.
Yeah,
honestly,
absolutely.
let's be real. But
Yeah,
he won't be. He won't be because he's a kicker.
Yeah, he
will
definitely
not
should be though.
He'll probably get on in his last attempt.
I look at that how Devin Hester should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer, just for the return, what he did to the return game in NFL football, and then it basically essentially killed it. It ended because of Devin Hester. So, yeah, that would have been cool too. I put them right there together. Put them both in the Hall of Fame. Get it done.
Does that a special teamer year where just all right, it was all special teamers this year?
Yeah.
All right, sweet.
Everybody's
cool.
getting in. Let's go.
Okay, get some long snappers in there. All right.
Dante Hall, the human joystick, he's getting in.
All right, so I remember when he was tearing it up for the Chiefs there, and then I remember when they came out with a special Gatorade for him,
yes.
the Gatorade X Factor, and they had the Gatorade both kinds, going down his face and making the crisscross. I was like that's how big he was too. He didn't have nearly the career that Hester did. He was very more flash in the pan. Not hating on Devin Hester or not hating on Dante Hall here. Just he was a flash in the pan. It was 2, maybe 3 years that he was household name.
Absolutely. Cardinals and star quarterback Kyler Murray agree on an extension, 5 years, $230.5 million with $160 million guaranteed. That is the second highest paid quarterback per year with $46.1 million. Kyler Murray, supposedly there was a clause put in there in the contract that like he had to like settle, like basically he had to have a study time. I don't know if he actually does or not. You know, we know Kyler Murray is very, he's with FaZe Clan, plays a lot of Call of Duty, you know, so watch out. Modern Warfare 2 is going to be coming out in October, so I would hammer the Cardinals will lose a lot of games those first few weeks. They're going to lose the first few weeks, I think.
Well, it's crazy that clause was removed when it got leaked to like the public. The Cardinals like came out after that and said they removed it. So like it was real, and the fact that they felt they needed to put that in there, and that Kyler and his agent knew and still accepted, like signed the contract with it being in there, says a lot. And so like I don't even want to say good on the Cardinals because they're well within their right to include it. If you're going to give someone that much money, I honestly think that, like, all right, like, can you please just study a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. Packers All-Pro tackle Dave Bakhtiari is on the PUP list to start training camp. I'm sure PD Tahiti doesn't feel great about that, but I did see some footage of him today doing some sprints, so I think he'll be on his way. Hopefully he can start once the season begins for the Packers. I mean, I hope he doesn't, but you know, if I'm taking my Bears like out of me, like, you know, obviously hopefully for the Packers they get him to start. I mean, he can't catch the ball, so Aaron, that's not going to help him that way, but we'll see what happens, right? You know what I mean? They got some receivers there, I'm sure. They'll be all right.
Yeah, they have receivers.
Yeah,
you know, but we'll see. Hey, like I think the Packers are like the Ravens. A lot of unproven guys there, where it's kind of like a put up or shut up, or they're gonna get someone else in there, I imagine.
Yeah. No, I mean, don't worry. The Bears have awful receivers too, so it's fine. We got Darnell Mooney and a bunch of just grab bag whatever's not good.
I like Mooney this year. I think Mooney. I wouldn't draft him as a wide receiver 1 for your fantasy team, but wide receiver 2, absolutely. I'd hammer that all day, every day. You want the number 1 wide receiver option on any football team for the most part, especially one that's going to potentially be down a lot. So no offense, Ryan. I'm sorry. I think they'll be playing from behind a lot, so that makes it even better.
Yeah, shout out to him. Shout out to the Bears, man. The XFL officially revealed its 8 cities for its 2023 relaunch. They are Arlington, Texas, Houston, Texas, San Antonio, Texas. So, like, right there, 3 Texas cities. Holy shit, dude. All right, fucking A, let's keep going. Las Vegas, that's cool. Orlando, Seattle, St. Louis, that garbage fucking city, dude. The garbage of a fucking city that represents the Midwest. Fuck you, Dwayne Johnson. That is horse shit. Yeah, that's why Stone Cold was always better. You jabroni. That is horse shit. And then DC Defenders, they're coming back too. So that's cool. I've already decided what my team is. I'm going to root for San Antonio because the head coach is Hines Ward. So I'm rooting for San Antonio. I've already penciled that in. I'm good to go. Did
they come out with the names yet?
I don't think so.
Yeah, okay. I hope they keep his DC Defenders. Also, like, I like how the cities they did remove, it was what? Like New York, Tampa, and there was one other one. What was the other one? Was it LA?
Yeah.
LA. The reason, if you're like sitting at home and you're like, whoa, why didn't those, XFL teams kind of carry over from the last generation to this generation? Because the attendance suck. People were not coming out to games, which I fucking love that aspect. They said, nope, we want to go where people are going to come out and support the team. That is fucking awesome, and I'm glad DC qualified. I kind of thought they would. Like, they're playing at Audi Field where DC United plays. It's a great little stadium for them, so that's just awesome. Like, fuck New York, fuck Tampa Bay, fuck LA. Like, just Tampa Bay, it's further proof, like, why, like, I'm glad for them. I guess they got an NFL team, but barely.
Orlando's interesting. Orlando's interesting that's where they moved from Tampa to Orlando. Like, that's super interesting.
Bold strategy.
They must have really. I mean, I'm assuming the team that The Rock has there with the XFL, that they looked at the numbers and they're like, well, I think obviously they're going to see more growth. They're assuming in that Orlando area. So.
And the stadium, they already have a deal in place to play where Orlando FC play. So.
Shock that Chicago again just left out, dude. Chicago Fire play at Soldier Field. What the fuck, dude?
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe when the XFL expands in a couple years.
Yeah,
when
the Bears will be
have
gone.
moved
So we
out,
technically
so
are
like,
going to get
hey,
a second Chicago football team. It just wasn't an NFL team. I got it.
yeah.
Copy that.
So
No problem with me
I was
here,
just being
brother.
an asshole. I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, hey, I'm good with it. Don't worry. I'm good.
Okay. So
Good.
if you had to pick a name for the Chicago XFL team, what would it be?
Wow. The Chicago. I don't know. I can't think of a good one off the top of my head on the spot.
Okay. I'm sorry. I did put you on the spot.
Chicago, like, I don't know. Shit. I can't think of one.
Shit.
Fuck. I don't know, dude. Not good though. I don't know. They'll come up with something stupid. They'll come up with some stupid shit.
I thought the XFL names were actually like super
They
creative.
are, but like, I don't know. Chicago never gets cool shit. You know what I mean? We don't. We're lucky we got the Blackhawks. It's one of the coolest logos in sports, so we're lucky we got that. I mean, the Bulls are cool too. But I mean, the Bears, we get that cool Bears logo that we don't even fucking use. We just use the C all the time. Great. It's fucking stupid. Yeah, I know, dude. It's fucking stupid. You know what else is fucking stupid? Deshaun Watson. He's fucking stupid. Absolutely. And they use the Texans franchise. Let's wrap the show up with this. There's a lot. This is a lot to dive into here. So let's go on what happened. First, the Texans and the claims of the 30 women against the Texans, saying that the Texans basically were assisting Deshaun Watson in his behavior, right? The claims of the 30 women against the Texans were settled. And then let me just read the statement here from the Texans. Today, all the women who have made or intended to make claims against the Houston Texans organization have resolved their claims. The terms of settlement to include the amounts paid each are confidential. I will have no further comment on the allegations or the Texans' alleged role, other than to say that there is a marked contrast in the way in which the Texans address these allegations and the way in which Watson's team has done so. As has been previously reported, only one of the 30 women who made allegations against the Texans filed a former lawsuit. That particular lawsuit will be dismissed with prejudice as soon as the appropriate settlement paperwork is complete. It takes an incredible amount of fortitude for a victim of sexual misconduct to come forward. It is even more difficult when the alleged wrongdoer is famous, rich, or powerful. As I've said before, the case has started with one phone call from one brave and strong woman, Ashley Solis. Because of her willingness to speak out, soon others followed. I admire Ashley and the other women who were courageous enough to make their voices heard, and I hope their bravery serves as an example to others who have been subjected to similar conduct. Every story has a hero. In this story, that hero is Ashley, and the other women who, despite the ridicule, criticism, and vitriol directed at them, endured. The 4 cases filed against Deshaun Watson will continue. We hope to try them all in the spring of next year. In the meantime, we'll continue the important work to prepare as such. And then we had Texans owner Janice, Hannah, and Cal McNair release a statement of their own, which is, we were shocked and deeply saddened when we first learned of the allegations against our then franchise quarterback in March 2021. Although our organization did not have any knowledge of Deshaun Watson's alleged misconduct, we have intentionally chosen to resolve this matter amicably. Amicably. There it is. This is not an admission of any wrongdoing, but instead a clear stand against any for the sexual assault and misconduct. That's such a weird sentence. We hope that today's solution will provide some form of closure to the parties involved, our fans, and the Houston community at large. And as an organization, we will now turn our focus to the future and doing what we can to ensure respect for all. It's a load of horseshit from the Houston Texans organization. It was a lot of contradicting in those first couple of paragraphs, so not great, but they did settle all those claims with those women. Usually, if you're not guilty, you don't have to settle, but hey.
Yep.
What do I know? I'm just a podcaster. And then let's go to the last week, the Deshaun Watson, and what his suspension would be was finished. That was determined. Remember, it is determined by a third party, which is a former federal judge. BK, what is her name again? Sue
L. Robinson.
There it is, Sue L. Robinson. And she determined that it would be a 6-game suspension for Deshaun Watson. And after that, the uproar ensued, and it continued on for multiple days. Remember, the NFL would then have, I believe, 3 days to decide whether they were going to appeal that or not. It was very hush-hush. No one knew what the NFL was going to do. This is the first time this process actually ever had been used. It was negotiated in the last CBA, so we did not know what's going to happen. The reason this process even came about is because a lot of people in the players' union were upset with how things kind of handled. Where Roger Goodell was kind of the judge, jury, executioner on all cases. There wasn't anybody really like, I guess you could say, kind of watching over Roger Goodell in those kind of situations where he was dealing out suspensions, which we know Roger Goodell and dealing out suspensions are kind of like Rob Manfred and his love for baseball. Non-existent, not very good, very controversial. So Roger Goodell, then the NFL and the NFLPA came to this conclusion, but the NFL then swooped in on the 23rd hour and said they are going to appeal. So now, where do we go from here? The NFL then will decide who is going to basically hear the appeal. It could be Roger Goodell himself, in which case was like, what was the point of even going through Sue Robinson? Because he was going to get to this anyway if you didn't like her decision. Or Roger could elect a third party to then somebody to basically fill in for him, to sit in for him, and do it. So we will see. We've heard the NFL is still going for the season-long suspension. Also that they want to ensure more money because after everything, it was basically like, I think Deshaun would have maybe, $300-something thousand, which is nothing. I want to point out also, I know PK is going to drill it in there as well, but like the Cleveland Browns and the way they did that contract are just at fault here now because they purposely set that contract up so that he would lose no money no matter what happened this season, basically. So that is also something to point out. Browns fans cheering Deshaun Watson at training camp. Slightly weird, man. Just a little bit weird. I know when we get Pete on the show again, I'm going to ask him about Cleveland's reaction because it's weird to me. Like, I know BK and I mentioned that we feel, at least for us, like we feel bad for Browns fans such as like Molly or Elaine or, you know, the ones who just are like what the fuck, you know, you obviously don't support with the Browns decision to even sign or trade for Deshaun Watson. But at the same time, when I look at that franchise, it's a big fuck you to the Cleveland Browns now. Because of all this, but that's a lot to unwrap here, BK, with everything going on with Deshaun Watson. So where you kind of at on it?
Well, yeah, I guess I kind of referenced earlier the Texans, treating John Mechie as well as they did Deshaun Watson, and so like I was joking there, and hopefully he has a quick, speedy recovery, and I know I do trust that they will take care of him, but. Like you said, like you touched upon with the Texans, usually you don't have to settle if you're guilty. Their statement was kind of like word vomit. It's very contradictory, and it's like, okay, what they did was essentially we're trying to get ourselves out of this situation as quickly as possible, and so like that's what they did. So that is what it is. I get at least those women are getting a payday to a certain degree. I know that's like not gonna fix everything, but at least. I guess at least they're getting something out of it so far from the Texans. And so then on to the whole Watson and Browns thing here. And most importantly, Judge Sue L. Robinson, who I think really screwed this up. And I think everyone was pretty pissed at her. And she deserved the ire from everyone because she was the one who decided on 6 games. And her whole reasoning is because based on previous suspensions where it's like, well, that's just stupid. Stop basing on previous suspensions when we've said initially, like years past, like, well, they should have got suspended a little bit longer. Like we don't think it was long enough. So shouldn't be basing it off of previous situations. Not to mention the whole Watson thing is completely different because we had 30 women come out.
Right.
30 women. This hasn't happened before at this scale. So you kind of have to almost throw out everything that's happened previously and kind of set a new standard, a new bar. And that's what she was brought in to do. And she did not. She failed on that repeatedly.
Yep.
And I think we kept sending Kyle Brandt clips back and forth, like, because he was just knocking it out of the park every time. The man is on fire. But he kept bringing it up. He was like, she used specifically non-violent conduct, like non-violent sexual harassment. Like, he was like that's okay? Like that's not a good qualifier in this case. Like, why are you doing that? Like, it's terrible that he acted this way and that he did it 30 plus times. Like, so, and that's like this is 30 times. It could have honestly happened more that we know of. Like, that's just like one of the things we'll never know. It could have happened to more women who just probably might just don't want to say anything, and that is like they're right because they probably don't want to talk about it because it was just horrifying and just like it brings up bad memories. So 30 that we know of. And then into the Browns thing here. So they came out with a statement that he's remorseful, but Watson has said in his press conference that he did nothing wrong. So if he did nothing wrong, he is not remorseful.
Right.
So what the Browns ownership said contradicted completely what he said in his press conference like multiple times. So that's just concerning. And the Browns said, oh, well, we did our homework on all of this, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. No, you didn't. You did just about as much homework on this as you did when you're drafting all those quarterbacks that kept failing over and over and over again. You guys never do your homework. You didn't do it again. And they screwed up. And I know a bunch of the owners were fucking pissed. They were livid at the Browns when they gave the first fully guaranteed contract in NFL history to Deshaun Watson. Think about that. The first guy in NFL history. The Browns gave it to him. They chose to do that. And then it's like that's like one thing where it's like, fuck, that's pretty fucking bad. And I know a bunch of other owners are pissed. And then the fucking assholes at the Browns had the great idea. Like, oh hey, let's just structure the contract so if you are suspended for like an entire year, you're not going to lose any money, big guy. It's like all signing bonus and all this other bullshit. So you don't lose any of it. What the fuck? What the actual fuck, guys? What are we fucking doing over there in Cleveland? What the hell? They're just so drunk and happy with the Guardians right now. They're just losing their marbles. Like, it's really terrible. It's a joke of an organization. I'm sorry. I'm a Ravens fan, so yeah, obviously animosity there and but joke of an organization. Joke of the Browns. Complete and utter joke. They are letting down those hardcore fans that you touched upon, like Molly, Elaine, and countless other like Browns fans. Just like because I know Elaine directed me to a few podcasts like I listened to from women when all this stuff was like coming out and just like the confliction and like how they're feeling. It's like that sucks. The Browns have made their fans feel that way on purpose. Time and time and again here, and this is terrible. It's just terrible. It's been a rough off season for him. It sucks, but like at the same time, like this is where the NFL needs to step up. Like Roger Goodell has to do something about this. Like this can't just be like a slap on the hand. Even for the Browns, like they need to be punished for signing him to this fucking contract. I know that sounds like insane, but like what a fucking joke. Like this is a joke.
I know I had sent to the one Browns fan on Twitter that like basically was implying that the only reason there's outrage is because Watson is on the Browns. And I was like, if you think your franchise matters that much, bud, you are sadly mistaken. Couldn't give less of
Browns. They honestly don't.
Yeah, you could give a less of a fuck about the actual Cleveland Browns. Okay. Apparently the Cleveland Browns owners themselves could give less of a fuck about the Cleveland Browns franchise as a whole. It's just a terrible, terrible precedent that was set here. I also know there was Browns fans that were getting defensive and calling out the Steelers, for instance, because of Ben Roethlisberger. I would like to point out, because they used that reference of Ben Roethlisberger in the suspension and things like that, that was one woman that came forward with Ben Roethlisberger, right? Which is still wrong. Ben Roethlisberger is an absolute piece of shit for that. But this is unprecedented, as you mentioned, because it's 30 women who came forward. Also, I know
6 games for the one woman.
Yeah.
So let's just extrapolate it out. 6 times 30. Just suspend him for that. If we want to go off precedent, Sue L. Robinson is just freaking. I don't know. She's lost. She's lost.
Apparently lost, dude. Apparently lost. She looks like she wears a red cap that has 4 letters in white on it. I won't get into that, but that's what it looks like to me. Also, I believe, like, you know, the whole thing is that 6 games, like, that's just so mind-boggling to me that would be the decision. And then we get into, obviously, the NFL suspending Calvin Ridley a whole year for gambling, putting some money down on his team to win. Like, it wasn't even like for them to lose or anything. But I know at that time I still feel the same way, that the NFL was going to do that and come down real swift on that real quick so it didn't happen again, because the NFL makes so much money. There's so much money that comes in from gambling, from the casinos, from fantasy football, from all things like that, that you cannot let any type of integrity get touched when it comes to gambling. And you cannot let for 1 second that thought slip in, but it's going to cost the NFL a lot of money, right? So I knew they were going to do that, whether that's right or wrong, whether I believe that Calvin really should be suspended for a year or not. I was very much under the impression of, like, oh, the NFL is going to come down real fucking hard, real quick on that. Now, again, that process wasn't in place for Sue L. Robinson to actually refer to it, so I don't know what she would have done. She might have given him a year herself. I don't know. Who knows? But this situation here with Deshaun Watson is just off. But what's going to happen now, right? So we know that previously, right before Judge Robinson's decision was made, Watson and his team have basically came out and said that if they were going to sue the NFL, if the NFL did try to suspend him for the season, right? Now the NFL is appealing that decision essentially to suspend him, we assume, for the season, because that's what the NFL wanted. The NFL wanted an indefinite suspension, actually. So this will get, if this does go through, Watson then, I assume, and his team will sue the NFL, which will then get this in federal court, which then means and then the NFL will have the power, while that's in federal court, to actually suspend Deshaun Watson indefinitely until that is settled. So Watson, there's the large potential Watson does not play this year. Because of this now, it will get held up in court. So we will see.
I hope he doesn't. Like, it's just, he does need to play this year. And honestly, like, after, I don't even, it sounds mean. I almost don't even want to see him play next year. Like, this situation is just disgusting me so much. But, like, I feel like that would almost be overkill doing, like, more than a year. But at the same time, not. Like, I don't know. This is just, the situation just pisses me the fuck off. And I'm not even a Browns fan, and I know they're like, and I know quite a bit of them are just fucking livid, but this is insane.
I think also in her ruling, didn't she also state that, like, he has to use the Browns training facility, like, the training staff, their towels.
He has to use the Browns masseuses that, like, they contract and bring in. It's like, oh, that's not gonna help. This just makes it worse.
Yeah.
So okay. I think the whole irony of, like, the whole, like, in there, like, the Cleveland, like, masseuse convention happening in Cleveland. Which that's, like, I mean, what a crazy year, man. It's just, oh my gosh.
The season hasn't even started yet, BK. Hasn't even started.
Yeah,
we're close though.
Close. It's exciting. It's about to, like, I think I texted you boys last Friday. Like, you know, it was the start of the Premier League season. I said, it's about that time of year. It's about to be the best time of the year. It's about to be the fall. Like you said, sweater weather.
Pumpkin spice.
Yeah, we're about to get pumpkin spice. I'm going to be able to wake up on Saturday, and, like, I don't have to watch Talking Heads. I can watch, like, soccer. Then I'll go in to watch ECU football. And then I'll probably just, like, get ready for NFL football the next day. Because, like I said, I ain't watching NCAA football anymore unless it's ECU. I'm committed. And then I'll go back, well, Sunday morning, wake up early, watch soccer, go straight into football all day. It's like the perfect existence, honestly.
It really is. It really is. The fall is the best time of year. It is the absolute best. I think that wraps it up for this episode of Amalgamation Nation, the AMNATIONPOD. As always, you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at AMNATIONPOD. Hit the follow button on all of those. Listen to us on podcast platforms such as Spotify and Apple Podcasts. If you're listening on Spotify, you can support the show by subscribing to it for $5 a month there. That helps support us. We appreciate that very much. You can find that on the top of the Spotify description. There's merch, obviously, AM Nation Pod and Undead Black Bull merch. Just click the link in the episode description. Twitch.tv/Undead Black Bull is where you find David. Make sure you give him a follow and a sub. If you have Amazon Prime, you get a free Twitch Gaming sub a month, so give it to Undead Black Bull. And Epic Games creator code. So if you're playing the Fortnite Rocket League or you're on the Epic Games Store on your PC, there is some sales going on right now. So go ahead and use the creator code AMNationPod. And whenever you buy stuff on those fronts, we get a little bit of a kickback at no extra cost to you. So we appreciate that too. And also on the YouTube, the link is on the podcast episode. But make sure you go to YouTube, search Amalgamation Nation, hit us with that sub button, give us a couple of views. We appreciate that as well. Until next time, you guys have a great rest of your week. And as always, you stay breezy.